Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to MUFC versus everybody. I am your host, Sean. Glad you guys could stop by today. Sorry that we are a little later than normal, right? Usually we're here a little earlier on in the day. Had a lot going on today. Been pushing hard to clean the house up a little bit today. Have a lot to do, a lot going on this afternoon. Not going to have time really to come back this afternoon and do an evening show most likely. So I even debated if I was going to be able to do a video today. I thought about maybe trying to wait until after Ten Hag's press conference, but I'm just not going to have time. So I don't like to do videos just for clicks or views. I don't like to do videos when there's not really a lot to talk about, just for the sake of doing a video. I think that's not fair to you. So I'd rather sometimes rather not do one than do one just for the sake of doing one. I don't want to listen to my voice. You don't want to just listen to my voice. I'd rather have something to talk about and get your opinion about stuff than just nothing else. But we do have a little bit of stuff to talk about today that I'd love to get your thoughts on. So before we do get stuck in, don't forget to hit the like button for me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new. And go check me out on Twitter, MUFC versus everybody. Let's get stuck in today, guys. As the thumbnail implies, this whole Aaron Wan-Bissaka transfer situation is getting a little out of hand. So many different reports, so many different rumors, and so many different just updates coming from all different sources. You know, one day it's personal terms are agreed. One day it's Inter Milan swap. The next day, you know, he wants a big payout to leave, right? West Ham are ready to walk away. They're looking at Kieran Trippier. Sorry, a lot of Kieran's out there. Kieran McKenna, Kieran Maguire, Kieran Trippier. That's a popular name in the UK, it seems. But Sam C with the United Stand is reporting, you know, that Aaron Wan-Bissaka's move to West Ham isn't completely off. He is expecting a big payoff from United to leave United, and we are willing, apparently, to pay a significant sum to get him off the books. Apparently, he wants £7 million payoff from United to agree to a move to West Ham, and that was reportedly confirmed earlier today. Nick in the chat says, evening, big up. What time is it where you're coming from, man? It's only about 9:45 a.m. where I'm at right now, bud. What time is it for you? Wow. Big up, though. Apparently, because Wan-Bissaka is going to be free in a year, he thinks he's entitled to the wages. Now, I say that he thinks he is, but so this report's coming from a source called Claret and Hugh, their big West Ham source. If true, it's really disappointing that this is the situation we find ourselves in. And I say, like, if he wants this, now there's another report coming out from @Malakians, which is Phil Brown on Twitter, right? The guy who put out some interesting stuff yesterday as far as COVID allowances and stuff are concerned with United. But he reported, so Phil Brown @Malakians on Twitter reported that there are a few United players who, when they negotiated their contracts, when they were signed, or when they have new contracts offered, that they negotiated a clause in their contract that says if the club extended their contract by a year to protect the resale value, because, you know, that's what we like to do. We always do the 4-year plus the option for a fifth, that kind of thing. So a lot of these players reportedly have negotiated a clause in their contract that says when that happens, they get half the fee when they are sold, which, if true, again, that is complete and utter incompetence from the previous regime there. Who negotiates a clause like that in a contract with a player? How is that protecting resale value at that point? That if you get to a point where you've activated that year and you're trying to sell, there's literally you're hurting yourself in that. That is, I'll never understand why there was this claim from whoever that Woodward and company and Glazers are these amazing businessmen, that they're savvy, whatever, because literally every decision they've made on a business level, other than just taking money from the club, has been one of the worst things I've ever seen. Nick is 12 hours away. Wow, man. Well, big up for stopping by today. Protecting resale value has absolutely crippled us in the market. It's crippled us as financial fair play concerned. Glazernomics has absolutely crippled us when it comes to our FFP. And the Glazers don't care. They've not put a single ounce of their own money into the club. Literally, like I've said many times, if you go to Old Trafford to watch a match and you buy yourself a pie or a bottle of water, you've already spent more than the Glazers have. It's ridiculous though that if that's true, and again, I'm just reporting where the source is coming from. Phil Brown is a pretty good source. If this is true, I I don't understand what the plan was as far as that. Protecting resale value, that does not make any sense to me whatsoever. I'm not going to profess to be any sort of expert anywhere near expert level when it comes to football finance. That's why we have guys like Kieran McGuire and whatnot out here giving us the news, giving us the nitty gritty of all this stuff. But that is got to be one of the stupidest clauses I've ever heard of in my life. Danny B, good morning, my friend. Big up. And I get that if this is true, right? I get that if Aaron Wan-Bissaka has this clause in his contract, then he's simply doing what is in his contract, right? What was agreed to by the previous people in charge of negotiating. But it's still disappointing as hell that is where we're at right now. Adds another layer to the whole reason why we struggle to get money when we sell players, why we struggle. Because if this is the kind of clause that is in players' contracts, then how is anybody supposed to succeed at this club? Sir Jim even said, the previous regime is at fault. The environment is at fault for the last 10 years, not the manager. That goes for Erik ten Hag too. How are you supposed to thrive as a manager? How are you supposed to thrive as a club? How are we supposed to strengthen and build when we're stuck with players because we overpay them, we pay too much for them, and some of them reportedly have this clause in their contract that says if we activate that extra year option, we have to pay them half of the fee that we get? How ridiculous is? Why would we negotiate for a higher fee if we have to pay more? That doesn't make sense to me. Oh my goodness. So disappointing, right? This could really be the difference between strengthening or not, as far as right backs are concerned. This could be the difference of having Wan-Bissaka for another year or not, having him. And Sean Connolly wrote, on the Glazernomic aspect, on the PSR stuff. Sean Connolly, and I shared this on my Twitter page yesterday. He wrote an excellent piece for Theater of Red website yesterday. So I reposted it, but go check it out. Big up Sean Connolly. You're doing the Lord's work out here, everyone. But what are your guys' thoughts on this WanBissaka contract situation? He wants to pay out. It's not even just that he wants to pay out. It's that reportedly he's entitled to it based on a clause in his contract. Do you guys believe that? What are your thoughts on that kind of contract? I would love to have that kind of contract if I was a player. Oh yeah, you still want me entering the final year? I'm going to get paid no matter what. Awesome. That's insane. That is literally insane. I don't get it. But let me know your thoughts on that whole situation, because I'm still just floored by that report. I'm honestly floored. On the financial stuff, on the PSR, on the fact that we're skint and we need to sell to buy. I did see a lot of United fans basically on social media this morning, basically calling it a lie that we have to sell to buy right now. Saying one account actually listed all of West Ham's signings this summer. Big up Vibes. Good morning, my friend. So this person pointing at West Ham signings and saying it's a complete lie. West Ham are doing bits in the transfer market. It's a lie that we have to sell to buy. United, you got to look at the differences. Look at what West Ham have done in the transfer market versus what we've done, and the big difference is selling players. West Ham literally just sold last summer Declan Rice for over £1 million. West Ham up until recently, very recently, as in the last year or so, West Ham typically have not bought a ton of expensive players. So we spend way too much and we don't sell anybody. We have to sell. West Ham sell players and we don't. That's the big difference. Declan Rice sale pretty much covered the vast majority of their expenditures last summer, and that's just the way it works. And like I said, they don't traditionally spend a lot of money, West Ham. It's only, I think, in the last year or so that they really have. And they'll be in the same boat as we are if they buy without selling much players, because they brought in a lot of players this summer. Kilman, who else did they sell? But they signed a lot. They sold Scamaga, they sold Declan Rice. They did bring in Kudus last summer too. So we are where we are in terms of the situation we are where we are in terms of the transfer market and the lack of activity because of the previous well over a decade of activity. And I don't want to keep rehashing that, but again, that news that came out today from Phil Brown, on Twitter about these clauses that players have negotiated at United to get half of their fee when they enter that final year of the added option. I'm still just boggles my mind, man. But speaking of having to sell to buy, so this is coming from Bild, right, a German outlet. So reportedly, Bayer Leverkusen have given Bayern Munich a deadline to finalize the signing of Jonathan Tah because they want clarity for their squad planning. And that's not unheard of. We just spoke yesterday about Wolves manager Gary O'Neill saying if there's a deadline, if people don't, if they wait till the last minute to try to bid for one of our big players, it's not going to happen because we don't have time to strengthen in that case. So that's very common. Reportedly, Leverkusen are pushing for that final decision. If there is no offer by this weekend, Tah will stay at Leverkusen and they won't sell for less than 30 million euros. Remember this, so this could play into our move for Matthijs de Ligt if we're still looking for him, and potentially Mazraoui, because we know that Bayern want to sell both and really need to sell both if they want to keep strengthening their squad. They want Jonathan Tah. They need to sell players because they've already bought quite a few players, and they're down a defender. They want a defender. Particularly de Ligt's not in the plan. They want Jonathan Tah. They need to buy him. So they're trying to sell when they need to further strengthen their squad for Vincent Kompany. Maybe this will put pressure on them a little bit. If they've got a deadline from Leverkusen to make an offer for Tah and they need money to do that, maybe that basically will kind of put the deadline on them to lower their asking price for Matthijs de Ligt. Maybe this fact that, we were prepared to walk away from de Ligt, we don't want to spend a certain amount. Maybe that will we could probably get that deal down by another 10, maybe 15 million for both Mazraoui and de Ligt if Bayern need to sell. So maybe they'll lower their asking price if they really want Jonathan Tah. Otherwise, they're SOL basically, because we are reportedly ready to walk away. Trevoh Chalobah still chilling. We reportedly you're interested in him. He's lower than what we were offering for de Ligt as well. So that could be an option. We have an option. We have a little bit of leverage, but at the same time, we need to get bodies in before the season starts, right? So would you guys still push for de Ligt? Would you just say, screw you to Bayern, let them deal with the mess that they've made for themselves? Do you have any other center backs that maybe we've been linked with that you would rather just go get? At this point, we cross that threshold between, priority targets and, whether or not it's good to just get bodies in. Because I don't like just buying players just for the sake of doing it. You want to get the players you want. It's worth waiting. Liverpool waited to sign Van Dijk. Ralph Rangnick said, like I repeated yesterday, it's better not to sign any players and buy the wrong player, because then you're just spending money, and if it's not the right player, then you've wasted money at that point. And so we'll see what happens late this week, tomorrow, Saturday. So this could be a really big weekend. Obviously, we've got the Community Shield in a few days. And then the following Friday, the season starts. It's already the 8th of August. We're already heading into the start of the season. We've got a couple more weeks left of the transfer window. We've already got injuries. We have a depleted squad compared to last season when we ended the season. We're down a midfielder technically. Right now, we're down a center back. We're down a striker technically. We got a fullback in WanBissaka who probably doesn't want to be here anymore. We've got more wingers like Sancho's here, but at the same time, we don't know what's going on with that. So we bought players in 2 players, but they're both injured. So we haven't really strengthened if you want to look at it from a numbers point. But there could be a little bit of news regarding our search for a midfielder. This is coming from Team Talk this morning. I think the guy was Fraser, I want to say his name. He reports that Sandberg wants to move to Manchester United, and we are preparing a bid to submit to Burnley for Sandberg. The report claims that Burnley hope to collect £30 million, though Team Talk reports that United are readying a bid that's a total package of around £25 million. Again, total package. So that 25 million figure would include add-ons as part of that deal. Still, that's a bit much in my opinion. 25 million total package for Sandberg is a little bit much, if I'm being honest. I don't think that I would want to pay more than 20 total for Sandberg. I mean, he doesn't want to stay at Burnley. He wants to leave. Burnley, yes, they get parachute payments from being relegated, but at the same time, that would really help them a bit. So I think that we could probably knock that price down a little bit. And I really hope the rumors, though, so if we are going for Sandberg, I really hope that the rumor we talked about yesterday about the fact that we're going to be offering 100K a week to him for wages. I really hope that's not true. I can't see it being true simply because of the fact that we're trying to get away from excessive wage structure. I don't think Euro or Xerxes are even on anywhere near that. Obviously, McTominay's still not on anywhere. We've got players that have been here for a while, like WanBissaka, who's still not on 100K a week. And so I don't think Sandberg, in the grand scheme of things, it's not like if you sign like Bruno Fernandes right now and he wants like parity with the rest of the squad. Sandberg is not that guy who's going to automatically get paid the same as some of the top earners at the club. He's just not. And so I wouldn't want to pay more than like, he's on what, 40K a week now. I would go maybe like 65, 70K tops for Sandberg. But let you know, Danny B says 20 is even too much. Best in class mile. Yeah, I'm not sure where that whole best in class kind of thing came from. It's a little bit. Kelvin, good to see new faces, man. Welcome to the channel, Kelvin. Why are we taking a long time in strengthening the squad? So if you've been watching the videos, and you can go back and watch some of them from yesterday, we are taking a long time because we have to sell players, and it's hard to sell players because the previous ownership, the previous negotiation structure. So remember, Ashworth, Barada, those guys have only been here since July. And they weren't responsible for a lot of what we're dealing with. But we basically, the gist, what I pointed out yesterday, the previous recruitment team caused two big factors in why we're struggling to get rid of players. Is we pay too much for the players, and we pay the players way too much. Nobody else can afford them. There's a reason so many players have left for free, or we've not sold them for profit. And the only ones we do sell for profit have typically been academy products that maybe we didn't even want to sell, like James Garner or Kambwala or anything, but we had to because it was the only way we're going to raise money. I don't think Ten Hag wants to sell McTominay, for instance, but we can't sell Casemiro because we pay him too much. And so McTominay represents a big profit because he's from the academy and he's on low wages. He's only on like 60K a week. And so we're taking a long time, Calvin, because we are having a hard time selling players, and we have to sell players to get money to buy players. It's just the way it works in football. We have to deal with FFP stuff again because of the previous regime. And that's not Ten Hag's fault. That's not Ashworth's fault. It's not Ineos's fault. That's the Glazers. That's Woodward. That's Arnold. That's Murtaugh. That just is what it is. It's not really any former manager's fault either. The managers don't decide the transfer fee or the wages. It's just, it is what it is. This is what happens when the people who make the most important decisions at a football club like Manchester United are not incompetent. I wouldn't trust these guys to make an eBay bid, let alone negotiate for players. Like, that's just the truth. That's just how I feel. It's embarrassing that we're the biggest club in the world and we've got absolute clowns for the last couple decades running the show behind the scenes, man. It's ridiculous, man. And so Danny B says 20 is even too much. Yeah, again, I think 20, including the add-ons, whatever, it is what it is at this point. But it's, again, I think, Danny, if like people like you and me were in charge of some of this stuff, whether it's the recruitment or the negotiating, I think maybe we'd be in a better financial situation at United. I'm not trying to overhype myself, but I think that, honest to God, some of these fans who take a little more time, do a little more research, would do a better job than some of the people that have been running the club for like well over a decade. And I honest to God feel that. I'm not saying that that's me. I'm just saying, just from what I've interacted with and heard from some of you guys in the chat over the last few months, it's like you guys sound like PhD candidates compared to some of the people who make the decisions at United. So big up. That's me bigging you guys up. So good job. But we'll see what happens. It sounds like this weekend could be big for us in terms of make or break. If, Bayern Munich have a deadline to make that Jonathan Tah move, maybe they'll lower the price for Matthijs de Ligt. Maybe we could get another defender. Maybe we could get Mizraoui. Maybe we can get a midfielder. Would you guys be happy with de Ligt, Mizraoui, and Sandberg? Maybe we could throw Amrabat in there. Amrabat's still on the website. He's in the new kit in the photo. So I don't know what's happening there. Berga and Amrabat for like a combined 30, 35 million. Is that doable for you guys? Would you guys take that? It doesn't have the defensive bite that I think we would need, but if Casemiro is still here, I mean, that's it what it is. I think we would still have to probably sell McTominay. I think Amrabat and Berga in and McTominay out. To me, that's a fair trade in terms of quality, because I do think both of them are better than McTominay personally. I know a lot of big United fans like McTominay. I think a lot of them are their views are a little skewed by the fact that he's an academy player. And I get it. We love academy products. We love when they can come through and do a job. And I'm not saying McTominay is shit. He's done well for us. He scored some goals. I just think that we can definitely improve upon him when it comes to just overall quality as a footballer. And I don't think we have to spend a ton of money to do it, as we've spoken about. Kelvin says, but I feel we should go for Sandberg, Amrabat, and De Ligt. We'll see. It sounds like United might agree. So I do think there's a strong chance we could see Amrabat back in the squad next summer, or next year, but we will see. Like I said to start the video, I was going to wait until Ten Hag's presser, but I just don't have the time. But I did see some reports today ahead of this Community Shield that Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof are doubts for the Community Shield against City. Although Erik ten Hag is expected to give an update when he does his pre-match press conference today. So we'll get an update. Honest to God, it's a Community Shield. It's a friendly as far as I'm concerned. Play the kids. I don't care. Wrap everybody else in cotton wool. I don't want to see Licha on the pitch. I don't want to see Rashford on the pitch. I don't want to see Xerxes on the pitch. I don't even want to see Onana on the pitch. Play Bayern. Play the kids. Let's see what happens. I don't want any first teamers now. Like, if you want to do like some scrimmages or a behind closed doors friendly, whatever, but play the kids. All right. At this point, I don't want any more injuries. If we get another injury on Saturday, I don't know what I'm going to do. There might be a Sean-shaped hole in this window, but we'll see. What are you guys' thoughts? Do you want us to take it seriously? Do you want us to put on a strong side? Do you want us to win? It's going to be interesting to see how City approach it. Obviously, Haaland's been playing a ton of minutes preseason. They're getting a lot of their squad back. Grealish has been playing a lot of their minutes. Grealish is a flop, though, so I really don't care. Darkrow says, is that practical? Is what practical? Playing the kids? Let me know what you mean. I'd say a lot of things, so it's hard to know what you're referring to, unless you're more specific. But welcome back to the channel, Darkrow. Good to see you again, my friend. Playing the kids, what is it practical? Like, it depends on what the goal is, right? Would you rather risk first teamers? I mean, how many people have we seen pick up injuries already? You know, Rashford had that worry. Anthony's had that bit of a worry. Maguire and Lindelof are doubts. Højlund's injured. Yoro's injured now. Nick Fadley says it's okay to play youngsters. I would play the kids. I don't want injuries, man. We saw Arsenal, Real Betis. These guys took the preseason stuff so seriously. Like, some of the challenges that were going in, like Rashford got a straight red against Copenhagen for not even as harsh as the stamp on his foot in the Arsenal game in the penalty area. That wasn't even called a foul. Rashford was the player with the ball against Copenhagen who took a step to shield the ball and stepped on the Copenhagen player, and the ref thought that was a straight red. He gets literally fouled in the Arsenal box, same exact challenge, high studs up, stamp on his ankle, goes down, goes off injured, and it's not even called. Like, I don't want this to keep happening. Darko says, who are the kids left you want to play all gone? Throw Wheatley on there, throw Ennis on there, throw Oyedele on there, throw Collier on there, Amas, throw all these guys on there. I don't care. Go grab whoever. I don't want us to lose any more players right now. I wouldn't play Shaw. I wouldn't play Dallo. I wouldn't play Bruno. I wouldn't play any of these guys. I'd rather struggle a bit against Fulham than lose first teamers in a friendly against City on Saturday. But you might disagree, Dark. It sounds like you might disagree. That's totally fine. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying that's what I would want right now. Because I would rather not have injuries than to just try to and bust everyone and get injuries just to try to win the Community Shield against City. Like, that's just the way I feel. Even Sir Alex didn't take this Community Shield seriously. He basically called it a training match. Like, it is what it is. I know the Community Shield has been around for a minute, but is it worth it to pick up injuries? We've seen that these players are just dropping like flies. I don't want injuries. You let me know your thoughts. I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying I'm right, you're wrong. I'm just saying that's what I would prefer right now. So it is what it is. But that's why we talk. That's why we engage. Like I've said many times, this is your channel. I'm here for your thoughts, your opinions, your feedback. It's about getting the conversation going. So I welcome and encourage the different perspectives and things. Dark Rose says, I wanted to play the kids since Ollie days, but it never happened. We were too fed up with the seniors. We've been playing kids, honestly. I mean, Ten Hag has brought through Garnacho. He brought through Manu. It looks like he's bringing through Collier and potentially Amas. It's just that not every academy youngster that comes through is going to be good enough. Like, people saw like Alanga at Forest after he left, and they're like, oh, look, like, he's fast. Alanga's fast, don't get me wrong, but was he good enough for United? Probably not. Yanazai, probably not good enough. Chong, Mengi, Shuratire, Angel Gomez. I don't think Angel Gomez got a fair shot I think because he was smaller. Mourinho just didn't really want him that much, but there are players that come through. I was really bummed about Kambwala that we sold him. I thought he looked bright when we played him last season, but what are you going to do? But we do play kids. We do promote from within. Not everyone's just going to make it, and it is what it is. And sometimes you have to make those hard decisions, and that's part of it. You're never going to know if someone's going to work out or not, but if you get a club that's interested, if the kid thinks they're ready to play, but you don't, then you have to make a decision. Maybe you go loan or maybe you sell them. We saw a lot of young players sold in the last couple of years. Your Iqbals, like I said, your Menges, your Chongs. Who else? Who was the young midfielder? I think he was Norwegian that we had. I forget his name now. He's got one of those 3-name names like Ole Gunnar and Erling Braut Haaland and stuff. But you guys let me know if you remember who that was. He had like the longer hair a little bit. He kind of looked like a young David Beckham in the face a little bit. Hansen, yes. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. He was like Isaac Aaron something Hansen or something. Yeah, another one a lot of people were really excited about, but just maybe was at that cusp where maybe he could have been ready for a team like in Belgium or something, or even the Netherlands, but maybe not ready for the first team in the Premier League. And, if your player backs himself, it is what it is. But, it's up to the player and the club to decide, do we promote him or not? If you promote him too soon, they're not quite ready, it hurts the team. But if the player wants to go play, then that's fine. You get some money for him. It is what it is. But like I said many, many times, I love the academy. Obviously, United is built on the academy. The motto is youth, courage, success. I get it. We've had a lot of solid academy players come through, but not all of them are good enough. And I would rather not try to force it, just for the sake of maintaining the record. I'd rather make sure the player is good enough, the player is ready, and do it that way than just say like, oh, we need an academy player today. Let's just force, Amas to start against Liverpool or something. Well, you could do a lot of damage to a player, and you could really hurt the overall result if you try to force something like that. So it is what it is. Like Lingard, another one. Lingard, probably not ever great, probably fine to be a squad player, but it got to a point where his wages were starting to get really, really high, and it just wasn't good enough. And so it is what it is. But finally, to close things out today, I don't know if you guys saw this. Chelsea have announced that Enzo Fernandez is their new vice captain. So yeah, that'll teach him to not sing racist songs, right? Make him vice captain. That'll show him good disciplinary action. Absolute joke of a club. John Terry would be proud, by the way. So hey, you're doing John Terry proud by that decision. If you can't tell, I really don't take kindly to racist and racism. So Luis Suarez can do one, John Terry can do one, and Enzo Fernandez can do one. So, but that's just me. That's about the extent of what I'm going to say on that. But that is going to do it for me today, you guys. Happy to stop by, share some thoughts on Aaron Wan-Bissaka, get your thoughts. I'll leave the chat open for another few seconds, as always, just to see what you guys have to say, because I do want you guys to get involved. Let me know your thoughts. Danny B, cheers, man. You're probably you're working today, my friend. Dark Crow, now that our players aren't willing to leave easily and want share of selling price, can their injuries be trusted? As like Rashford, what football has played to get injured? I mean, it's hard. Everybody's body's injured, and if you watch the beginning, the report was that there is a clause in some of these players' contracts that says that if we activate that extra option year, that they're entitled to half of the fee when they're sold. So it's not necessarily, if the report is true, that Wan-Bissaka just wants a share of that price. It's that contractually he is entitled to that because the previous regime, so your Woodwards and stuff, thought that that was a good idea to put that in the contract. So again, if true, and this is coming from Phil Brown or Malakians on Twitter, pretty good source. If true, I don't blame WanBissaka. It is disappointing that that's in there, and I get it. Like, I don't think anybody would not, exercise that clause in their contract if it's there. But that's more of a previous regime thing than anything. That I don't understand how that clause is even a thing. Like, I don't like it's, and this is why you can't ever accuse us of cheating, because we make the stupidest decisions. What's like anytime there's a decision to be made financially, we take the worst possible option and we're like, yep, let's do that. Let's go with that one. It's like we're trying to be the best at being the worst in so many things. So I don't get it, man. But it is a bummer. I am disappointed that that's where we are right now, at least in terms of WanBissaka's situation. I hope that by the weekend we can figure something out. Take a cut price and just let him go, man. It's ridiculous. Dark Hero says, great stream. Thanks, man. You guys make the stream great. I'm just here kind of saying things, and it's more about getting your thoughts. So it's really up to you guys. Like I say, it's your channel. I'm just kind of here to be a conduit, to kind of be a facilitator, and kind of just keep the conversation rolling along on an agenda. But you guys make the channel, you make the streams great, you make the videos great. Stop by this weekend. Before you leave today, I see we got 13 people watching, only 5 likes. Hit that like button if you haven't yet. Subscribe to the channel. Stop by Saturday, a couple hours after the Community Shield. Saturday's video is going to be a bit fun. Again, doing my season award show from last season that I didn't get to do earlier in the summer because of my injury. Gonna have some guests, hopefully. So get your picks in for goal of the season, player of the season, moment of the season, and worst refereeing decision of the season. So that's the big awards that we're going to be looking at. And I've got a few more extra categories that I'll throw out as well. But be sure to stop by for that video. Again, like the video today. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by. Danny Vibes, Dark Crow. Good to see some new faces. Nick, Kelvin, welcome to the channel, my friend. I will see you guys on the next one. I'm not going to be back tonight, probably. I'm not going to have time. My wife's got stuff going on, and then I've got stuff going on. If there are big updates, I might make a point to come stop by, but it'll be a little later than usual. Probably wouldn't be till like 7:30, 8 o'clock. But until then, guys, enjoy your day. Keep an eye out for Ten Hag's pre-match press conference for any big updates. And I will see you guys on the next one. Later.